Over the years, we've seen Nigerians clamoring for change, for a new Nigeria, for a better place, for good roads, for good education system, for good leaders, and a list of so many things. But the question is, why haven't we gotten what we have been clamoring for years? My father would tell me during his time, there were people fighting for the same thing, generations and generations and generations. We are fighting for the same thing. Good day and welcome to the show. My name is Godswill Mbak, and we are here to answer the question, what is a new Nigeria? What is the picture of a new Nigeria? So, Mr. JK, I would like to hear from you first. What do you think the problem is? What have we not gotten right?
All right. Like you said at the beginning, it's very interesting that for myself, I've always prayed for Nigeria I'm 37 years old, and I've prayed for Nigeria as far back as I can remember. Every time in the prayer in the house, we prayed for Nigeria. And it comes to mind now, you begin to wonder, what happened to the prayer we are praying? Something is wrong. Is either there's something that's wrong. Maybe the God we are praying to does not answer the prayers. Or is something that prayer should not be done about. Or there's something or the answers have even showed up and we have not seen, we are not able to recognize them. Because really, I like the subject of this discussion. If we are looking for a better Nigeria, if we are clamoring for a better Nigeria, when we see it, can we recognize it? What is a better Nigeria?
Yeah.
Because sometimes we don't really know this. We go out and pray every time, we go out and protest. But what is a better Nigeria? I'll give you an instance. A lot of times we think that the problem is the leaders. A lot of times we think that. But really, it's not just the leaders. We have been to the high institutions. We cheat in exam halls. We are born out of, like I used to put it, it's the same fabric that makes us. Both leaders, both students, both doctors, the police, anything. So if there's police brutality, it's the same root problem as cheating in the exam hall. What is it? You want something that you don't deserve. You want to do anything to get something for free. And that's the problem. Even if you're a politician, that's the same issue. You want to get the money that you didn't deserve, you don't work for. And that's what I would say. I can see a lot of it, but maybe you want to add something, then we talk more about it.
All right,
yes. I think that one of the problems Nigeria has as a country is that people are afraid. Yes, there was a time when Nigerians were simply ignorant. They want a new Nigeria, but they don't even know the new Nigeria they want. Now, more and more people are informed. Nigerians are more educated, not just schooled. We are actually educated. We've seen the way people in other countries, we've seen the Arab Spring, we've seen civil uprisings abroad, and we've learned that we have the power. We voted our leaders into power. We have the power to bring them down. But most Nigerians are afraid. And then this fear is born out of cultural constraints and religious bigotry. Now, Nigeria is a very complex place.
Yeah.
In fact, we have several ethnic groups, over 5,000, and that's just an estimate. That'll show you how complicated Nigeria's problem can be. Now, with a lot of ethnic conflict all over the country.
Yeah.
Yes, and then we have 5,000 ethnic groups. I mean, once violence erupts, it could take any kind of ramification. You could have people accusing protesters of religious violence. You could have them accusing of ethnicity and the rest. So I think Nigerians are afraid to look religion in the eye, to challenge the authorities. Nigerians are afraid to give up themselves, their cultural backgrounds, to sacrifice their religious and cultural identities for a better Nigeria. So it's more like our fear keeps constraining us. We are ready, but no one wants to give up. No one wants to sacrifice culture or religion in order to have a better Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much. Very importantly, you mentioned, JK now, you mentioned the leaders not being the problem. You mentioned it's rolling down to the individual, the everyday Nigerian, the students in the school, the church members, the people in the mosque and everywhere. So I would like you to address that.
Okay.
So what do you think can be done to correct that?
Okay. The new Nigeria we're looking for is the Nigeria where no student feels it's right to cheat in an exam hall.
Yeah, feels it is right.
And he doesn't do it. And even if there's the opportunity, even if no one is watching, he would not cheat in the exam hall. A new Nigeria is the one that I go to a bank queue or whatever queue and I stay at the place I met the queue and I follow it without shunting it. A new Nigeria is the one that I see a traffic light and I obey it regardless whether there's traffic or not, whether there are the police there or not. That's a new Nigeria, because if we have a Nigerian, the way I look at it is, a new Nigeria is battered. You know, Nigeria is not the geographic location, it's the people. So it means a new people. The problem that Nigeria has is not the location, it's the people. The location is still good. In fact, the location is abused itself by the bad, in quotes, by the not good people of the country. So we clamor for change. We say it's leaders, we push the blame, but really, the person stealing the class exam hall will be as bad a leader as the leader he has and is complaining about. So it doesn't matter if you protest or not, because even in the protest, what happens? I'm happy about some of the protests that are happening. It's peaceful. Maybe it's helping us to imbibe this brotherly character. Yeah. Because you see Christians, Muslims working together, which is a good thing. Yes, and they are worrying about their brothers.
Yeah, and I think it's also a step to conquer the fear issue. Now Nigerians are coming together and to speak out what they want.
Yes, so you see people from across religions, across cultural backgrounds. It's not all over the country, but in some areas that are more advanced, in some states that are a bit more advanced. And that is one of the catalysts to begin with. One example or one picture of a good Nigeria, or would say a good Nigerian, who will in turn make a good Nigeria, is that a good Nigerian will not see another Nigerian being extorted, maybe by the police or by government, or he will not see somebody's rights being deprived and look at it as if it doesn't concern me. It wouldn't matter whether you are a Christian or Muslim and the person is not, and is the other way around, or from the north or from the south. And that is the Nigerian we are looking for, that will produce the new Nigeria, the good Nigeria we are looking for. Yeah. And unless we come to discover this issue as the backbone of the problem of the country and address it, then we are fighting wrong things.
Yeah, true. Okay, thank you very much. Can we address the issue of fear, Judith? How do you think we could conquer this fear? I believe there's a mentality that comes with you being brave and being bold to stand for what you want. So how do you think we can conquer the issue of fear?
All right. I think one of Nigeria's major problems is that we're a very, very religious people. And don't get me wrong, being religious is a very good thing. But then when you see the religions that Nigerians are willing to write on their forehead and move around with, they don't depict this same religion in their own lives. Nigerians need to understand that no one forced you to believe in God. No one forced you to have a religion. Yes, and your ethnicity too, you are born with it. There is nothing wrong with being Igbo or being Hausa. There is nothing wrong with being Christian or being Muslim. But you have to understand that when you were born, before you became Igbo, before you became a Northerner, before you became a Muslim or a Christian, you were first a human being. And you have to understand that there is more to God than religion. You have to open up yourself to understand beyond what you see. What we are facing in this country, the most annoying part, the saddest part is that we have so many Nigerians with huge potentials that could transform not just the country but the entire world. We have so many gifts that were killed before their time. We have young people who were coming up. They had huge dreams. dreams that could have made everybody's lives better. But these dreams now were muzzled. Nigerians need to wake up. We can't keep praying each day. We can't keep fighting each other. If the leadership is bad, rise up. Fear, courage is not the absence of fear, but it's your ability to look your fear in the eyes. Challenge who you are. Challenge your environment. If you want something, go for it. Every Nigerian today is dissatisfied with what he has. He's dissatisfied with the climate. But then when it comes to going out and doing something about it, everyone is afraid. You want something, go get it. You can't be sitting down one place and expect miracle to fall down from heaven. Nigerians are very religious. We've been religious for a long time. We've prayed every day for the past 60 years.
Praying.
Nothing has happened. Maybe it is time you realize that God answers actions too. Maybe it is time you realize that if you wake up, you stand up and do something, then and maybe then God himself will come down and help you.
Okay. Thank you very much. JK, I would love you to respond to that also. What do you think? What can you say about fear, Nigerians, and not being brave to stand for what they want?
I think it's a way, like she was saying earlier, is the way that we are trained. We are trained to be like that. We are trained to be careful. We are trained to follow whatever was structured. It can be a good thing, but that cuts away progress. Progress is reviewing what we are doing and making it better and changing it, you know. So, but if we are all doing the same thing we have been doing in 60 years, then something is wrong, especially when it's not giving us the results we want. So we need to, and fear is not really just about maybe gunshots or deaths at the most, but a lot of times we're afraid to even take the steps, to the small steps. For instance, if you know setting up a business is going to make a country better, why won't we set up business? If we know that little things that we need to do. So fear has that, and a lot of people don't have that courage. The absence of courage is fear. They don't have the courage to do what they know to do. I've interacted with a lot of young people and even old people. They know what they have regrets. You know, when you meet people who have regrets, it's like they didn't have the courage enough to do what they knew they were supposed to do, and they didn't get to do it. So, and that is one of the things we have to put aside. And I think we have a solution about it, which is one of these, like this discussion is putting us to. If we need to have a picture of a good Nigeria, then we should also have a picture of the sacrifice that we have to do to get to a good Nigeria. Then we can get to courage and take away fear and lay the sacrifice.
All right, so I would like to hold it out there. So we need to have a picture, first of all, and then we need to have an idea of the sacrifices we have to pay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a nice time. Hope you're learning a lot. And we're going to go for this break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the picture and the sacrifices we have to make to achieve that picture. To achieve that picture, stay tuned. All right, welcome back from that timeout. I'm sure you are enjoying the show so far. We've been able to get to the roots, to know what the problem is. Now, before we went for the break, you were talking about the sacrifices we have to make to get that big picture. I'd like you to boil it down to an individual, our everyday lives.
Okay.
What do you think I, as a person in my workplace, I, as a student in school, I, as someone in the marketplace, can do to get that big picture that you're talking about?
Okay, maybe first we look at the big picture.
Yes.
A big picture means that everybody gets what they deserve. So it means that the poor people get the money that the government allocates to them. It means that the contractors get all the money that is allocated to them. And it means that the road users get all the roads that they deserve. And it means that politicians only get what is allocated to them. It means also that students only get the marks that they deserve. That is the big picture that we pray for. And we never see it this way. Because a lot of people possibly would not pray what they are praying if they saw it this way. Because if you are a contractor, I saw a clip, if you are a contractor and a lot of us are guilty of it. If you're a contractor that inflates prices of your contract, then you see a good Nigeria means that you won't do that.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the sacrifice.
Yes.
In fact, one other issue is the picture of a good Nigeria is that we stand for justice and equity. Yes. If you see an Igbo man I'm from the north, I'm a Waja man from Gombe State, from the north. If I see an Igbo man, it doesn't matter, he's a Nigerian. By the way, it doesn't have to just be a Nigerian. If I see a Cameroonian or anybody human, I should stop and take care of injustice as within my capacity. That is a good Nigeria. Because if I have this capacity, if I'm built this way, if the true Nigeria surfaces, the true Nigerian surfaces, then that true Nigerian will be the president that has these qualities. And the president will fight injustices. The president will fight every other thing that you know is a problem because he already has this new Nigerian mentality. And if we don't have that, because it's the same thing, you blame the president, you blame the commissioner, you blame the governor, but they are cut out of us.
Yes.
And if they take you that is blaming them, but you are just in school and you think it's not a big deal, but it's just a matter of office. If they take you out of your class and take you to the presidency, that same stealing, that is what translates to embezzlement.
Yes.
Yes, so we cannot cut corners right here.
Yes.
It's a very sad thing, as you see, I'm passionate about it.
Yes.
That we don't really realize the problem. If we realize the problem, then we can look at the sacrifice. And then now the question you mentioned is the sacrifice. The sacrifice is that if I go to the bank today, there's a queue, I should make up my mind, no matter how long. If I can't face the queue, I should just move away. I shouldn't shunt it. If they are looking for anything and I'm applying for it, I shouldn't use any connections I have. I should wait for the people to choose based on criteria. And this is the challenge with this understanding. A lot of times we look at other people, what they will do. If we just do the right thing, other people don't care about the right thing. But really, there's something about doing good. The good will always fight for itself. It will take time, but eventually it will fight for itself. And that is the sacrifice, really. You may die not getting that which you know you deserve because someone else is not yet in your place. But that's why it's called the sacrifice. That's what it's called. And then if you go, two wrongs don't make a right. So if you know the right thing, and because the people on the other side don't know the right thing and they are doing the wrong thing, and you just chose to, that's what everybody does. So the Northerners will say the Southerners are doing it, so we also have to start doing it. That's the essence of the quota system in this country. Because these people are getting plenty jobs and they don't care whether you deserve it or not. They just put, and then the Southerners will say this, the Northerners say this, the Christians will say this, Muslims will say this. Unless we get Nigerians, and it's an individual thing. So the sacrifice will be that every Nigerian out there, you put yourself in a place as a Nigerian, that you feel the pain of somebody else.
Yeah.
You don't deprive justice. Selflessness. And until we get there, any country that succeeds, that's what they do.
Yeah.
So you see an atheist, a person who doesn't have a religion, who doesn't believe there is God, but does more justice than even some religious leaders. They see people oppressed. Do you know that atheists send money to Africa? Africa is so blessed. We are supposed to be the ones sending money to Europe. If we can be true Nigerians, we will be the world power.
And that starts not from even, you don't necessarily have to be in power.
No.
From your words.
Yeah.
So the average Nigeria on the street that is walking and sees someone being harassed, maybe parks his car, and then the next person parks, and the next person parks, and maybe the next 5 cars have parked, and they are asking, what is
What's
going on here?
yeah.
Why are you harassing this
Yes,
young man?
then these
I
things will
think
stop.
that way, these
yes,
things
I had
are
this,
going to
this,
stop.
yeah, I have this picture. It's interesting. I have a picture. I wish Nigerians can use it. We can stop oppression on checkpoints. Just make sure, if every Nigerian listening to me today, if you are driving and you see a policeman oppressing another Nigerian, stop with your car and go and stay there for solidarity. Find out what is happening. And every other person who sees the two of you will stop. By the time you have 10 cars there, the policemen will leave whatever they are doing and leave you to pass. And if you can do that within a week in the whole country, every policeman knows that, these people, they are not going to allow us to collect money anymore. Yeah, so we better allow them to go.
And it boils down to the point that Judith made about fears. So many of us we have that fear. So we are scared of pulling, and it's either we are selfish or we are scared.
Yeah.
Those that are selfish, it's not their business. I don't know the person that they are harassing.
Yeah, it's not my problem.
And that is not the spirit of a true Nigerian.
Yes. And
the new Nigeria will need somebody that will be able to see something going wrong and then pull over.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to say, I wanted to say a story. One of my colleagues we were talking about, he was given an instance. He was passing through a neighborhood. It wasn't his neighborhood. He saw a water pipe that was leaking. And it was spraying, and the people there were just watching and doing their normal activities. And he wasn't there, he was just trekking past there. He looked and he saw there was a little rubber band there, and he stopped and tied it and left. He didn't live there. How many, if Nigerians can get to that, that is the Nigerians that will make a better Nigeria.
Okay, so that brings me to my question, and Judith, I will need you to talk about this. Okay. So that means we have to instill these things you're talking about. The lack of fear and the selflessness in the heart of every Nigerian, starting from when they are kids, and then maybe over time we can have the new Nigeria we are clamoring for. And I don't know if you agree with me that the new Nigeria will not come in one day.
Yeah, it doesn't take an election to get a new Nigeria.
I'm
puncturing some of the tires. It's not an election that gives birth to a new Nigeria.
Yes. Okay, so
because it wasn't an election that brought about a bad Nigeria.
Yeah. Okay, true. So my question is this now. From the education sector, the schools, these are the places where we have little gatherings. The family, the religious places, the churches, the mosques, and everything. What responsibilities do you think these people have to do? What do you think they need to do to instill this lack of fear and this selflessness? Because I think it starts from little units like that, then it forms up to the Nigeria we're talking about. So Judith, what do you think? What can you say about that?
I personally think that if religious leaders would sincerely preach unity, within a week, this country will be transformed. As I said earlier, religion has such a firm grip on the Nigerian thinking system. And as we know, mind is the master. You cannot go anywhere. You cannot change anything. In fact, you cannot change anyone unless you change yourself. And that's the most difficult person to change. And you cannot change yourself until you change your mind. Nigerians have to step up. You have to learn empathy, justice. You have to learn selflessness. Nigerians need to open their mind to see things from a different perspective. Yes, religious leaders can bring about the change that we need, but we are not going to depend on them. If they don't, let's bring about the change. In our educational systems now, we have children who tell their teachers that this country is ruined already, it's corrupt. My sister is a teacher, actually. She tells me these sad tales. She teaches in the primary school, for that matter. Most of the students are 10, 11 years below. But as young as that, we have the next generation of Nigeria looking at adults and telling them this country is ruined already. In fact, there was an incident of a girl that refused to do her assignment. She was telling her that she doesn't need to. That if she has connection, that's it. She knows people that went to school, they did well, they deserve it. That's very terrible. The thing is,
and it's true. Sad.
We need to restructure our thinking. We need to have new, radical perspectives. Nothing good comes easy. It's going to take a while, but then a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. For government schools now, it will take a while before we are able to get the government to improve the curriculum, to improve the training of teachers, and then to employ teachers who deserve to be teachers, and then getting them in the classroom. It is going to take a while. But how about our religious schools? They are very, very influential. You have Christian children attending Sunday school once a week. We have Muslim children attending Islamia schools.
Almost every day.
Yes. So now we have like 80 to 90% of Nigerian students attending religious schools. If you can capture the mind of children using religion, we can transform Nigeria. It is high time Nigerians will realize that if religion gets in the way of humanity, then maybe it is time we rethink religion. Maybe it is time we put God first. Time we put humanity first. Time we realize that God will never ask us to follow a religion that teaches us to instigate violence and enmity. We are our brother's keepers. This is not just about watching out for our Nigerian brothers and sisters. This is about watching out for our humanity.
Yeah,
yes,
humanity.
and the environment too. We have Nigerians now. I'm a student at the State University, and usually when I'm walking around campus, maybe I eat something or I drink water in a sachet, and then I wait till I get to a trash can before I dispose it off. And I have my friends, my classmates now laughing at
They
me.
laugh at
Yeah.
you.
Yes,
Yeah,
and then
yes.
they tell me that just me throwing this in the trash can will not make the school clean. Because there are so many others that the only way I can make the school clean is that I bring a broom and I sweep the whole school every day. But I feel that at least just that one action,
contributing,
me alone, I'm doing what I can.
And I think a lot of people are going through what you're going
Yeah.
through. Just like you earlier stated, maybe you walk into a banking hall,
Yeah.
and somebody's trying to shunt the line, and you tell the person, no, stay in your line. Majority of the persons on the same queue would be against you that is stopping the shunting.
Yeah.
They will tell you, they
far
see
now,
you
yeah.
as the
You are
bad
person,
Nigerian.
yes. Or
When actually you are actually the
good
new Nigeria we are
looking
clamoring for.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I was saying at the beginning that we don't even know the Nigeria we're looking for. So all the protests, all the prayer, all the elections, we don't really know the Nigeria we're looking for. When we see it in the eye, we can't recognize it. And because we have seen it a lot of times, but we have not recognized it. The new Nigeria is that man that stopped at traffic and was waiting for the light to be green, that you were all honking at. That was the Nigerian we are all glamoring for. That is the Nigerian that will bring that Nigeria.
Yes,
but we always find them.
Personally, I love the story of the lady with the clutches that went out to protest, and then Nigerians together put their hands together and contributed some money.
Yeah, they didn't know her. Yeah, they just
didn't
saw
know
her there. Yeah.
And the other lady also, which her business was also sponsored. I think that's the spirit of the new Nigeria.
Nigerian we're looking for. Then we get to that Nigeria.
Yes, before we get to that Nigeria. So
yes.
you should be able to, from your little sector, you have maybe a 200 naira note, and you just tell yourself, I'm not going to finish this all on myself.
On myself, yes.
And then there's someone you see on the road, a beggar or something, and
want
maybe 20 naira from the 200 naira, you give it to him.
Yeah.
That is the new Nigeria we're looking for.
That's the new Nigerian we're looking for that will produce the new Nigeria. Because it's a new Nigerian that will produce the new Nigeria. It's not Nigeria that will produce itself with the old Nigerians, no. So, and really, unless if they are going to ship us out and bring new people, it means we have to change ourselves. And maybe I should add to what she was saying about the change that we have to undergo. For a long time, we have wanted the leaders to be the ones to start the change. It won't happen. We have wanted it for too long. It has never happened. So the religious leaders, sorry to say, religious leaders will not bring the change. I would say they need to change themselves as individuals, because this issue is a matter of individual change, not a matter of you do this. No, it's a matter of what I can do. And unless every Nigerian gets to the point to do what they can do and forget about what whoever is not doing, then we are all going to be going in cycles. Yeah. So my idea is,
so that
I should just.
That means you have to, Judith, you have to keep.
Yeah, she needs to keep
until you get to the trash
can and do that
before you throw
yes,
your
yes.
Okay.
And then you train you do it for yourself. You decide for yourself. And just put some things out there. I will not disobey traffic. I will not do this. I will not steal. I will not do. Just do that for yourself, for the glory that you see coming as Nigeria. Then you decide that. You see, your children would see how their dad does stuff, and they will learn. So you see, you are not waiting for Sunday school. You are doing the everyday home school. Yes, and they are seeing it. Your children will see how you give your neighbors alms. Your neighbors that are not up to you. You help them during celebrations. Maybe it's Salah, and you are a Christian, but they are Muslims. You give them something. You help them. Even if you are a Muslim, they are Christians. You give them something during Christmas. Your children will learn it. It's not something to say, it's something to do. It's not something that someone else will do for you. No. And you see, this is the sacrifice. We talked about sacrifice earlier. This is the sacrifice. I believe there are a lot of people who are hurting about this country. But if they know this is what it takes, then we can channel that energy. Anytime you see anything wrong, don't go out to protest against anybody. Go and obey the law. That's the way to pepper them if there's anything to say like that. Okay. Obey the law and then put those things in place. So if we begin like this, then we can have, when our children become grown up, and then they become the leaders, they become the religious leaders, they become the government officials, they become everything, then you see we have a good Nigeria. Yeah. So it doesn't matter the election we are doing if we are still electing the same people that are not the good Nigerians from the same group of people that are not good Nigerians, then nothing changes. Let me add, if we are just still going around to pray and the same people come back to be the same odd Nigerians and not obey anything and want to be favored over every other person, then that is not going to bring about a good Nigeria. I know there are going to be prayer protests, maybe some people may want to, but if you really look at it, we have prayed enough. We have prayed enough. I think God has always answered our prayers. And this is where the answer is coming. We have to look at these things in the eye and take the courage and go about them the right way. Decide for yourself. Don't look at anybody. Just decide for yourself. Just decide for yourself. Yes.
Okay.
So just to wrap up my point, I saw a video, I used to share it all around, a mother duck and like maybe 10 ducklings. They were trying to go over a step, maybe a bit high like this. The mother duck went through. Then the other ducklings were just trying to go over the step. They were trying to go over it. It was like a 7-minute video. And at the end of the 7 minutes, they were attempting and failing. But at the end of 7 minutes, all the ducklings had passed. So what am I saying? I'm saying that persistence, that thing you are doing, don't be discouraged. Because it takes persistence. In persistence itself, it is empowered. Persistence has the power within itself to make things happen. Yes. So we can take that as Nigerians and be persistent. You know what is right, you know the sacrifice, be persistent and do the sacrifice.
I'll encourage Nigerians to be informed. Like ignorance is a huge weapon that leaders use against us. You're going out to do something, you should know what is involved. Train yourself, build yourself. You should at least teach yourself to read. Even if you're not an avid reader, teach yourself to read. You should watch educative programs, watch international news, see how people struggle in other places, learn from them, build yourself. The power to set yourself free lies in your hands. If you set your mind free, then there's nothing anyone can do to you. You are not a slave, but you have to decide from now henceforth that you set yourself free and you do everything in your capacity to set others free, to show them the way to freedom. You should be persistent too, yes. Keep your hope alive. It's not going to be easy. You should know that it will take a lot of sacrifice. And in fact, you might get killed in the process. You might not see results in your lifetime, but you should know that every good thing you do today for the sake of others, for the sake of Nigeria, for the sake of the black race, for the sake of humanity, for the sake of this planet on which we live, is a seed that is planted. It will take a while before that seed grows, but then you keep watering it with hope and persistence. One day you'll see results. One day we'll have the Nigeria of our dreams.
Okay, thank you very much, JK. Thank you very much, Judith. It was nice having you in the studios. And my viewers out there, thank you very much for staying tuned from the beginning to the end of this. I think we've successfully painted the picture of a new Nigeria. It's up to you. Change begins with you. Change begins with me. See you next time.